Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about in this video about a forensic discipline which is a bit of unheard and a little less research, at least in India, called forensic entomology. And forensic entomology, as by definition goes, like the science of application of arthropods or the science of application of insects or organisms with joined appendages. So, forensic entomology, as it says, it uses insects in solving the crime scenes. But there are some other categories of entomology, like the first category being urban entomology, where insects are involved in a way that they're affecting houses or any man-made structure, any infrastructure or buildings. If the insects are affecting these structures, then the civil cases that are filed against fall under the category of urban entomology. The second category being stored product entomology, wherein the insects are involved in infesting the stored products or the packaged foods. It could be any other commodity or clothing. If the insects are infesting on these products or any commodity, then the civil cases that are filed fall under the category of stored product entomology. Now, the next category, the last category, which is of our interest, is called medico-legal entomology, wherein insects are utilized for solving crime cases and helping the investigation to proceed. So, medico-legal entomology is what we're gonna discuss in this video. Okay, so before starting, I just want to ask you about why do you think insects and not any other species or category of species in the world can be utilized for this process? What benefit or what advantage insects pose over other categories or other phylums in the world? Well, insects or arthropods, as you know, it, they are so cosmopolitan and they belong to the largest phylum. There are so many varieties of insects which are found, so many species which are discovered and yet to be discovered. And insects are literally found wherever human settlements are. So before humans think of settling somewhere, the insects are already present there, and that's the main reason why insects are utilized for solving crime cases. Now, the second thing that may come to your mind is how the insects are utilized or what help insects can give to us in solving any investigation or any crime case. So basically, insects answer two important questions about any investigation. First being when the death of the victim has occurred, which means at what time of the day the victim has died, which is one of the most important questions in every investigation case, because it actually helps the police in narrowing down the number of suspects in the case. So the first question that entomology can answer is when the death has occurred. And the second most important question that forensic entomology can answer is where the death has occurred. That means after the death of the victim, has the perpetrator or the killer has transported the body or moved the body to somewhere else after death. And this can be done by analyzing the insects infesting on the body of the victim, on the body of the corpse, and comparing it with the insects of the local area to check whether the insects match, and if they match, the body has not been moved to any other place. So in technical terms, when we talk about when death has occurred, it is estimated as post-mortem interval, or PMI. So post-mortem interval, by definition, it is the time interval between the body discovered and the actual death of the victim, and it is generally accurately predicted by pathologists. But what if the body isn't that much intact? What if it has undergone a lot of degradation and decomposition, and if it is skeletonized, then the pathologist may not be of that much help, rather than an entomologist can be of much practical use for us to tell the time of death. So, what an entomologist do to find out the time of death? They essentially compare the life cycles of the insects feeding and reproducing on that corpse, and they predict when the life cycle of that particular insect, which is breeding, might have started. So, as to say that when those insects have arrived on the body, which is quite approximately equal to the time when the victim has died. So, what an entomologist essentially is telling us is the post infestation interval. That means the time interval between the body discovered and the arrival of insects, and not the time interval between the body discovered and the actual death of the victim, which is PMI. So, there's a bit of difference between what entomologists predict and what pathologists predict, which is different for both intervals PII and PMI. But for our need, for investigation purposes, we just need a broad interval. We just need an approximate prediction that at what time of the day possibly the victim had died, so that we could investigate the number of suspects.